start by saying congratulations to Chaz's lockpicking for reaching his 100 subscribers. That's your first big milestone, and I'm sure there'll be many more to come. Anybody here watching who doesn't already subscribe to his channel, there's a card up here and a link down there. Please go check him out. And he was wanting to see our most valued, I don't know how to say it, his most valued high security lock. If I had to pick one, it would be this one here. This one I won in a giveaway by Chris Capoon. It's Ingersoll 10 lever padlock. I saw one, and I forget whose, somebody's YouTube video. Saw them picking it and demonstrating how it worked, and I was just fascinated by the mechanism. And was lucky enough to win this one from Chris, and it's gorgeous. It came from Chris, which makes it special, and I had a great time picking it out of the package, so that is a special memory too. So if I had to pick one, it would be this. The only problem with this one is picking it is, it's not the most technically challenging to pick of all of these, but it's the most physically demanding because the amount of tension and pick pressure that you end up having to use. I'm worn out by the time I'm done with this. My hands hurt. So yeah, that's a beast, and I love it. This one came from Murloc 68. It is a Schlage Everest Primus, and this was a very challenging lock to learn to pick, but fun at the same time. Something very different with the finger pins on the side. This is the Everest Primus version. There's also just a standard Primus. They're different keyways, and just pretty much the same, but ever so slightly different because of the way the warding is and the amount you have to lift the finger pins. But I love that one. This one was generously sent to me by Levi325, and this is a Kaba Gemini, and this is part of a master keyed system, so there's not as many pins in the lock as there are holes drilled in the key. There's actually only 11 pins in the lock, but this was a very fun and challenging pick. So those are the ones generously sent to me by the lock sport community. As far as the ones I've picked up on my own, we have the Illinois Duo, which was very early on in my picking, visiting a local antique shop with my wife. I found this hanging on the wall, and at first walked by it thinking, oh, it's just another beat up old padlock, but for something caught my eye, and I went back to it, and I saw that bidding on the side, and I was just like, what is that? What is that? I want to know. And I had to, it looked like it would be an interesting challenge to pick, so I ended up buying that. I think it was $7, and it took me a while to get to the point where I would attempt to pick it. At the same trip, same shop, found this Abloy Classic. This is actually a fairly old one. It's a sealed unit, you can't open it. It came with the one key. I've picked this on camera once. It's not the best video, but I wanted to pick it today. That was what I was originally going to do, rather than show all these. I was going to pick either this or the Ingersoll, but that Ingersoll hurts my hands. And this one, my pick broke. The tension head snapped off the shaft. So that's what you get for modifying cheap Chinese stuff. Anyway, next is this is a multi-lock interactive kick cylinder that I've also picked on camera, and it's the type with the serrated driver pins, and this is the first dimple lock I picked, actually. Well, that's not true. This one wasn't. Another multi-lock interactive was the first I picked. This was one of a pair of Medicos I got cheap off of eBay because I wanted to be able to learn to pick Medicos, and one of them, I've picked both of them on camera. One of them I sent to Cherokee. This was in the worst shape of the two. It's also the hardest pick of the two, I think, largely due to the fact that it's just worn out. You'd think it'd make it easier, but with this particular one, the edges of the key pins are so worn and rounded off that it's sometimes difficult to rotate them without the pick just sliding under them. And then the core, I don't know if you can see that, but there is just so much slop in there that it causes the lock to not behave like a normal Medico. Normally you get a bind. If you go clockwise, you'll bind the sidebar first, and then you pick the shear line. So you rotate first, and then pick them to shear by lifting the pins. If you go clockwise, it will bind. You pick to shear because the pins bind first, and then the sidebar binds. So you rotate them after you pick them up. This one, but definitely it mixes them both if you go clockwise, and sometimes it mixes them a little bit if you go counterclockwise, but it's much easier counterclockwise, which is the way I did it on video. This isn't really a high security, but it picks like a high security. It's the Quickset Smart Key Generation 3 that you have to use something to tension the sidebar. So you can see all the scratches there from me sticking the bobby pin in there that I used to pick it. And last, this is a Sargent Queso, I don't know, but I have successfully picked this once, and only once so far. I'm determined to get to where I can pick it a couple more times so I can really understand what it is that I did the one time that worked versus all the times that don't, because it's pretty much the same thing. I either get into a false set or the one time I got an open, and I'm not exactly sure what I did different. What makes this so challenging is the pins arrangement. So this is not representative of what's in the key, of what's in the lock. The lock, this is a master key, and the way they master is different cylinders can have different populated pins. So this has every possible location drilled out, basically, except for I think a couple at the end on the top. This lock has, I believe, 12 pins. 4 down each side, 4 down the top. I can't remember for sure. There might be 5 on the top, but at least 4 on the top, 4 on each side. And the way what makes it extra difficult is the way they line up. So in pin locations 1, 3, and 4, the side pins touch in the keyway. They are perfectly lined up. When you go back to pin location 2 on each, they're offset like this. So the front ones, or the 1, 3, and 4, they actually physically touch. They push against each other at rest. The key pin comes down just right in amongst them. Doesn't actually touch, but it comes in just right in with them. And so it's really hard to get a pick in there without disturbing one you don't mean to, and trying to get the top pins without hitting the side pins is very difficult. The other part of that being that depending on how the pins set, you know, as you pull the key out or the last time you picked it, they can be slightly one way or the other. They can be perfectly in the center, they can be a little off to this side or a little off to this side, and that can change any given time you pull the key out or finish trying to pick it. So you apply tension and you might be in a slightly different, the pins might be in a slightly different location than they were the last time you picked it, so the binding order completely changes. So yeah, it's a real challenge, and I've gotten it once. I opened it once on camera. That's the only open I have so far, but I'm determined to keep trying till I can at least get one more good open, but probably two more. I want to feel like I've understood it. Now, all that being said, there's one lock on this table that I have never successfully opened. This Yale, sent by Culper Woodhull. This, best I can tell, is just a simple warded lock, but I cannot find the little mechanism in there to pop the shackle open. And I can't get it. So this is the only lock on this table that's currently in my naughty bucket, and only one of two currently in my naughty bucket, just so you know. I've also not had any luck. I haven't really tried much, but I haven't had any luck with the best core that Murloc 68 sent me either. So that's my naughty bucket right there. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Again, congratulations, Chaz, on your subscribers, and thanks for watching, everybody. Remember, keep it legal.